Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Olga. I love to crochet and every week I share a new video tutorial here on my YouTube channel. In today's video I would like to show you how to make a lacy summer skirt. This is the skirt that I made for myself in size small. However, this skirt can be made in any size you want. I made my skirt with Aunt Lydia's crochet thread size 3 and it took about 1000 yards, and I work with a hook size D 3.25 millimeters. However, you can work with any yarn of your choice and any suitable hook. I prefer cotton thread for my skirt so that it holds its shape and it doesn't stretch. I've made myself this skirt a couple of years ago and I've got quite a lot of wear out of it, and it's still in pretty good shape, and I really love this skirt. And as you can see, this is a lacy see-through skirt, so I wear mine with a black slip. This skirt is worked with treble crochets and it's actually not that difficult to make it. And I do have a written pattern for this skirt. It is available in my Etsy shop and also on Ravelry. Alright, and now let's start working on this project. First, let's take a look at how this skirt is constructed. It is made in these lacy pattern repeats which widen towards the bottom. In my skirt I have 15 pattern repeats, but you can start with as many as you need for your size. On the top at the waist I also worked a round of single crochets, then a round of half double crochets and a round of single crochets, and I made this cord so that I can pull this cord and tie the skirt around my waist. And usually as I tie it, then I hide it inside so it's not visible. Now, how do you determine with how many pattern repeats and how many chains do you need to start for your skirt? Well, you take a measurement around the widest part of your hips, then you start with a chain that long, but you need to make sure that your chain is divisible by 12. In my case, I had 15 pattern repeats and 15 times 12 is 180. So I started with chain 180, which I then join into a ring. And in today's video, I will make a small sample to show you how this pattern works and how to make a skirt of your desired size. I will make a small sample with 6 pattern repeats. So 6 times 12 is 72. So I'm going to start with 72 chains. 1, 2, 3. Here I have 72 chains, and now I'm going to join them into a ring with a slip stitch, and I need to be very careful not to twist the chain. Okay, so here I have it. So remember, when you start with this chain that you join into circle, this ring must go over the widest part of your hips so that you are able to wear your skirt. All right, let's start our first round. We start with 4 chains, and these 4 chains will count as a first treble in this round and in every round afterwards. Next, I work a treble into each of the next 2 chains. So yarn over twice, 1 treble, and into the next chain, another treble. Next, into the next chain, I work 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. And now again I work a treble into each of the next 3 chains. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so let's take a look. We started with 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3, into 1 chain. Then we have 3 trebles made into the same chain, and then again we have 3 trebles made into 1 chain each. Next, I skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and I work a treble into the next chain. Yarn over twice. Now again, I skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and I work a treble into each of the next 3 chains. So basically the pattern already begins to repeat from here. So my first treble, my second treble, and my third treble. Okay, so remember the pattern is repeating. Next we make 3 trebles into the same chain. 1, 2, 3. Now again, a treble into each of the next 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to make this part, so we are skipping 2 chains, 1, 2, and we are making a treble into the next chain. Again, we are skipping 2 chains, 1, 2, and the pattern begins to repeat. We will work 3 trebles, 1 treble into each of the next 3 chains, then 3 trebles into the same chain, then again 3 trebles, and that's how we're going to continue crocheting all the way around. And here I am at the end of this round. So I skipped 2 chains, I made a treble. Next I'm skipping 2 chains, and I'm joining with a slip stitch to the 4th chain of the beginning chain 4. So this is the first round of my skirt, and I'm ready to start my next round. I'm going to slip stitch in next 2 trebles. So this is the first one, the chain where I joined. I don't count this one, but the next one, that's where I make a slip stitch, 1, and then the next one, 2. So I made 2 slip stitches, then 4 chains. That counts as my first treble. And now I make a treble into the next treble. Next, I'm going to work 5 trebles into the next treble. And look, this next treble, it's the middle one of the group of 3 trebles that were worked into the same chain. So into this middle one, I am now working 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, I'm going to work a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, and 2. Now I'm going to skip these 2 trebles, and I work a treble into the next treble. Next I skip 2 trebles, and I work a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2. And now again I got to this middle treble where I had 3 trebles worked into the same chain, and into this middle treble I will work 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now again a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2. Again, I'm skipping these 2 trebles and I work a treble into the next treble. And the pattern begins to repeat again. I'm going to skip 2 trebles, then crochet, treble into each of the next 2 trebles, then into the middle one I will make 5 trebles, and so on. And at the end of the round, again, I'm skipping 2 trebles. And remember, these were the trebles where I made slip stitches. So now I'm skipping them and I'm joining with a slip stitch in top chain of the beginning chain 4. And so far I have 2 rounds of my skirt complete. Now if you look at my skirt, it's still quite straight, it's not widening, and that's because in the second round I did not make any increases. And in the adult size skirt I actually did not make any increases for the first 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to here I was crocheting the same way as this round 2. And then in the 6th round, that's where I started making the increases so that the pattern repeat begins to widen. However, on this small sample skirt, I'm going to show you how to make increases in the next 3rd round. And by the way, in the description box below, I will list all the rounds in which you need to make increases for the adult size skirt. The round with increases, we start the same way as before. We make a slip stitch into the next 2 trebles, 1, 2, then we make 4 chains, which count as our first treble, and then we make a treble into the next treble. Now the next treble is the middle one of this group of 5 trebles, and into this middle treble I'm going to work 7 trebles. Now in the previous round, into the middle treble, I worked 5 trebles, but in this round, the round with increases, I'm working 7 trebles, and those 2 extra trebles will give us an increase. So that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now I continue the way I did in the previous round. I make a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2. Next I skip 2 trebles and I work a treble into the next treble. Now again, I skip 2 trebles and I work a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2. And here I am at the middle treble again, and into that treble I work 7 trebles. 1, 2, and 7. Again, a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2. I skip 2 trebles and I work a treble into the next treble. And the pattern repeats. So the only difference from the previous round is that into the middle treble I work 7 trebles. So here I completed the round with increases, and the next round I'm going to make a round without increases. So I start the way I did before with 2 slip stitches, then 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, then I make a treble into each of the next 2 trebles. 1, 2, and here I am at the very middle treble of this group of 7 trebles, and into this middle treble I will work 5 trebles. So remember, for the round with increases we work 7 trebles, and for the round without increases we work 5 trebles. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I work a treble into each of the next 3 trebles. So 1, 2, and 3. Now I have 2 trebles that I skip, and I make a treble into the next treble. Then again I skip 2 trebles, and I work a treble into each of the next 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. And here I am again at the middle treble, in which I will work 5 trebles. And that's how I continue this round. So here I finished that round without increases, and this small sample skirt really calls for more rounds with increases. However, that was not the case in this one, and as I said, I will list all the rounds with increases that I made for this adult size skirt in the description box below. And it's really up to you how many rounds with increases you want to make. If you want to make a really full skirt, you can make increases in every other round or even in every round and see how that turns out. And if you want to make a skirt more of a silhouette style, then you will make fewer rounds with increases. And remember, for the round with increases, we make 7 trebles into the middle treble, and for the rounds without increases, we make 5 trebles into the middle treble. And over here in the beginning of each pattern repeat, we always skip 2 trebles and we work all the rest to the middle. Then we work all the trebles except for the last 2, which we skip. So in every round, no matter with increase or without increase, we always gonna skip 2 trebles. And this is what I have. I made more rounds with and without increases. And for my sample skirt, I'm going to stop here. And now I'm going to work on 2 rounds of the edging. So I start the next round with 1 chain, and then I simply make a single crochet into each treble around. Just a round of single crochets. And then I'm going to make a round of half double crochets, making a half double crochet into each single crochet around. And now I join the round and I can fasten off and hide the yarn tail. And now I'm going to work over here on the top around the waist. Over here where the original chain was joined, I attach yarn and I will be crocheting in the rounds again. And now I will simply crochet a single crochet into each chain. So I started my skirt with 180 chains. So at the end of this round, I must have 180 single crochets. So here I finished this round of single crochets, and actually on my sample skirt I have 72 single crochets, and on the actual skirt I had 180. Now for the next round I start with 1 chain, and into the same stitch as joining I make a half double crochet. Then I make 1 chain and I skip next single crochet, and I make a half double crochet into the next one. Now again 1 chain, I skip the next single crochet and I make half double crochet into the next one, And that's how I continued this round all the way around. And at the end of the round I make a chain and join with a slip stitch to the first half double crochet. And now I'm going to make the final round. I make one chain and a single crochet into the first half double crochet, and then I make a single crochet into the next chain, then a single crochet into the next half double crochet, and a single crochet into the next chain. And that's how I crochet around, making a single crochet into each chain and into each half double crochet. And here I join this round and I can fasten off and cut off the thread. And this is it. All I need to do now is to make a cord, which in reality is just a chain, which I need to lace through these openings. And that's it. That's how this pattern works, and this is how you can crochet yourself a skirt like this. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video tutorial.